for the next 4 days,
You got it, dude.
Hello and
Hello, everyone.
welcome. We were in the middle of talking. I tried to say it really quickly before we go live,
I'm
but
sorry.
it's all good. So of course, guys, we are a part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. Apparently things are just going crazy today. We're probably going to have a fairly short episode, I think, compared to the last few, to be completely honest. Katie and as well as my wife and myself are going a little crazy with cooking, because how do people prepare for Thanksgiving? Like, as a child, I never really wanted to look behind the veil and wonder how everything was made so quickly. As I grew up, I saw the mania that is trying to get everything ready on time. I don't like it. Adulting is hard, and yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
For
I
those
I
who were
le-
curious, my pumpkin. So I made homemade pie crust, and I thought I made enough crust for two. I did not have enough, so I made a tester while my other was in the fridge. Pie crust is a success. So
That's awesome. I legit for Friendsgiving yesterday, we ordered pizza and we just ate pizza. And then tomorrow, I think me and my wife are legit just eating finger food with crackers and jam and cream cheese. But we also have ham, green bean casserole, and I think a pecan pie. That's it. That's literally it. No
I'm making
giant turkey or nothing. Just
I'm making homemade pumpkin pie, and this is the first year Matt's coming to my grandma's for Thanksgiving. And so my whole family's gonna be there, like big shindig. Like it's one of my favorite parts of my childhood. So I'm really excited. So, but y'all, happy Thanksgiving if you're listening to this when the episode drops. Happy Life Day. I know we forgot to say that last week because technically it was last week.
yes.
Um, but we are a part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. If you've been here before, you know the spiel, and if not, it'll be down in the description box below. We got 8 shows, 7 days a week, a couple bi-weekly ones, so not every day of the week, but we're here. Clay's got a
Yes.
bunch of shows on the network. I've got 2 shows.
We're
I've
speeding through
literally,
this. We're speeding
I've,
through this.
I've
I just want
literally,
I just want to highlight two things from last week. And technically it's going to be this week for you. But me, Chris, and Katie recorded a Ghostbusters Afterlife episode that I believe drops this next Sunday. So
yes, I have to edit
go
that tonight.
Yes, go check it out when it drops. We had a very awesome discussion about it. I think it was well loved all the way around. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it, especially with the family if everybody is safe to go out and watch it. And then, of course, last Saturday, uh, Joe and I guest on his show, a walk through the multiverse, and we talked about the comic book Radiant Black, which is really big right now. It's doing really great things, and it was a lot of fun talking 2 hours of that book. So go check those two things out. We have a Patreon, $1 and $5 tiers. $5 is what gives you all the access to all the goodies and stuff. Let's go ahead. And also, well, is it for us or is it just for GeekVerse or is it GUA that has Manscaped for the rest of the month?
I think it's just Geekverse. We did not get a
Those
promotional post like
punks.
Geekverse.
Those punks. Anyway, go support our sister station Geekverse. Good guys over there. I still need to listen to their news segment for last night, but go check them out. Go check the GV code for Manscaped because it's just good stuff. And let's go ahead and jump into our topic. Well, do we have any really big news? I was kind of looking, and I don't really think there's anything too big.
So Star Wars News Net updated their site, and it's really confusing me because I'm like, I just need the recent news, and it's like, ah. So a couple things just to kind of like shoot off. Dennis Lawson, who plays Wedge Antilles, who my dog is named after, stated that he may have had a larger role in the Rise of Skywalker. So that's interesting. Not much really to go on there, but it's just kind of like a, you know. And originally he didn't want to come back for The Force Awakens. So that surprises me that he would have a larger role in The
Huh.
Rise of Skywalker. What about you?
I I mean, it's interesting. To be completely honest, I wasn't really expecting him to return either, to be honest. Just because of how little the role kind of would have been or whatever. But, you know, it is what it is. Uh One thing that I kind of we because I think it was you that posted it into our group chat. There was the official image of the Book of Boba Fett, and it kind of looks like there's a lot of space in that
It
image.
clearly has more space that's like, oh, who's supposed to be here? In the image, it's got Fennec Shand to the right, and then it's got Boba Fett. And then it's got like this huge, like almost, I would say a third, no, a little larger than a third, honestly.
Yeah.
So like half the image is just this washed out like light shining over this area. And I'm like, why the hell would you make that an official image? Because everybody's speculating now. Why wouldn't you have just cut it off and gone, oh, hey, and you could have perfectly centered it because Boba's on one side of the throne and then Finnick is on the other. You could have perfectly made a perfect promotional image like that. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's very odd that you like again, I just think that now 2021 is very odd for marketing. For Sony, for Star Wars, I'm not necessarily sure what is going on with their brains. Um I made the wild guess that this is Kira. Uh just throwing that out there because I still think that she's going to be a part of this series. Uh, who do you think this person could be?
Well, if you read War of the Bounty Hunters by Charles Soule, I would highly doubt that it's Kira. I know we all want it to be Kira, but I highly doubt it's Kira based on like kind of the confrontation that they have in this because Kira, spoiler alert, steals Han from Boba Fett.
Yes.
And I just did an episode on this for World's Finest True Believers with Chris. That will be out some point in January. I think he said end of January. But so I'm like going into spoilers, but like based on this, he's like, I now know who I'm going to kill at the end of this. And so he doesn't end up killing her in this, but there's 2 more volumes set to go, or 2 more like in the series. So there's going to be Crimson Reign, and then there's going to be the Hidden Empire, and that completes Charles Soule's trilogy on Kira. So I don't think Kira is going to be in it because Bob was like really pissed. So
Yeah,
my
which is I feel like that would be like a perfect way to like fill out an antagonist, be a technical protagonist of another movie.
maybe, but I couldn't see her standing right next to them, like in the throne room. Does that make
True,
sense?
true, because it kind of does look like a hero pose type of
Mhm.
promotional image. So
What I
I can see
think
that.
what I think it is Pedro Pascal was originally rumored to have parts in this because remember this is supposedly the Mandalorian season 2.5.
Yes.
So and some people have like kind of analyzed the voice that we get at the beginning of the Book of Boba Fett trailer and say that
Yes.
that's Pedro's voice. So I would picture that that's Din Djarin.
I still don't know how I feel. Like I understand that this was kind of pushed as a 2.5 Mandalorian season, but like I have enough Mandalorian in the Mandalorian show. Like
Mm-hmm.
give me Boba, give me other characters, like broaden this story a little bit more and keep it less narrow, you know? Um, but it is what it is. I thought it was absolutely hilarious when you dropped this into our chat, just because that is obvious. Like it is, it is like Photoshop 3.0 of like, oh, I just learned how to cut an image, and here's how to mask it, and it's just like whew,
Yeah.
lights and dust.
It and it granted it's making for great promotional spiel for Book of Boba Fett because literally I think it's gone viral with people just going, who do you think's in this image? like several podcasts have picked it up and gone, okay, tell us who you think's in the image. We'll read the best ones off on the podcast. So several people have picked it up. So if that was their intent, props to them. If not, like, whatever. So the next bit of news, so Book of Boba Fett did get an Empire spiel, as well as there was an exclusive interview in that with Dave Filoni. And there was some comments about like Dave stated that he's writing the Ahsoka story that he's always wanted to write. And so that's pretty cool. Otherwise, there's not really much more to that. Let me just double check all this. He said, it's thrilling. I got to tell you, it's something you imagined doing for a long time. And then it's kind of startling when you're sitting there and now you have to do it. I thought of this adventure for Ahsoka for a long time, and it's interesting to see how it's evolved. Years ago, I never would have imagined that it was sprung from a branch of a tree that had anything to do with a guy like Din Djarin or a child that looks like Yoda. It's a great lesson for me on how, when you have other creatives like Jon Favreau, they can help lend such dimension and depth to what you're doing. So that's really all he had to say there. As far as other Ahsoka news, we have talked about several rumored castings previously.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess that's a little big, you know.
That's a little big. We forgot about it. So Ahsoka has had several rumored castings for Sabine Wren, who Ahsoka goes and picks up at the end of Rebels, presumably to go look for Ezra. And the Mandalorian episode Ahsoka is in takes place before that epilogue. So what we have here is a trade has actually reported on a Sabine Wren casting, and the casting is Natasha Liu Bordizzo. And the voice actor who originally portrayed her was Tia Sarkar. And she could have fit the role perfectly. Like, I love her and everything. She's been in live action to vocals. So I'm kind of really sad about that. I know the other one that they were thinking about was the 100, the priestess who kind of keeps up with the chip. I can't remember her name. Mm-hmm. But she would have also been a phenomenal casting choice. So that's about it. Does she have anything in particular? She's more of a relatively unknown actress, which is what Star Wars has tried to go with over the past couple of years, to try and go, okay, we're going to bring you to light, not the other way around. And so I know a couple of people have commented on like she's more of a light-skinned Asian, but they did go with somebody of Asian descent. I'm sorry, like there's a lot of legitimate reasons to go either way with it. If you're angry with the casting or not. But she's got the look, I think.
Like, I think that she does. I think that once we actually see her transform into the character, with costume design and everything else, I'm sure she will have the look down 100%. I'm really excited about this because this is just one step closer to finally getting that Ezra casting. You know, so close. And then hopefully Thrawn immediately after or at the same time, you know.
Right. And with it filming in March, I would presume that we're going to get something very similar because it's going to be a mini series. I would presume we're going to get something very similar to what we got for Obi-Wan Kenobi, which was that casting matrix grid that Disney put out at the beginning of filming. So hopefully we'll get some confirmations there. Remember, just because it comes from a trade, it makes it like 95% legitimate. Sometimes trades still get stuff wrong. Contracts go through.
There's still 5% for us to get disappointed in, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So something to just consider. Take everything with a grain of salt unless it comes from StarWars.com. I think the last bit of news we have is the Mandalorian composer Ludwig Göransson. I think that's how you pronounce that, who has outstanding soundtrack work from his movies to The Mandalorian. It's phenomenal. And so he is he has been nominated for Best Score Soundtrack for Visual Media in this year's Grammys. Specifically nominated is the Season 2, Volume 2 soundtrack, which is episodes 13 through 16. So props
Very nice.
props to Ludwig. He has won he has previously won 3 Grammys, the best score soundtrack for Black Panther, and then the other 2 were for his involvement in writing Donald Glover's This Is America. So this is his 8th Grammy nomination.
Very nice. I did not know that. I saw a TikTok yesterday that somebody was just jamming out to the Mandalorian theme, and I kept that thing rolling for like a good 3 minutes. Like I was just sitting there, just it's so good. I love the guitar riffs and everything in there.
My
But
ringtone, Matt's ringtone for me is the Mandalorian theme.
that's awesome.
So
But I think that is it. We should be taking probably our one and only ad break for today.
y'all,
Maybe.
I'm sorry, but it's Thanksgiving.
Yes, like we
You know,
said,
Clay and I like to talk.
everybody is kind of going crazy this time of year. But let's go ahead and take our very first and last ad break, and we will get to volume 1 of the Star Wars High Republic Adventures. And we are back. So, well, just roundabout thoughts for you, Katie. How did you feel about this book?
So it's definitely meant for younger readers. Going through and reading Dark Empire Volume 1 and then High Republic Volume 1, War of the Bounty Hunters, those are all very much geared towards a more adult perspective. This is definitely something that a younger readers more geared towards because it's more Padawan focused. It does have some very cool moments with Yoda, and God, everyone on Twitter was like, I love Buckets of Blood. And I was like, maybe. No, no, I love Buckets of Blood. Buckets of Blood
He's
is.
he's a great character, but I want to see him outside of a all ages book. I want to see
Mhm.
how he would be portrayed there as well. Um, because I'm not entirely sure how I feel about the third person type of speaking.
Mhm.
Like, because he doesn't do it all the time, which is very weird. Like it's either like you go for it or you don't. And there was a lot of times where he was speaking in the third person, and then when he wasn't. So I'm not entirely sure. And I do like it how, like, well, why do they call you buckets of blood? He's like, oh, well, it's because I go into battle and blah blah blah. Oh, well, buckets of blood to help people, like transfusions and things like that. So more of like medical aid and things like that. So I thought that was funny. But I was very surprised how involved Yoda was for this story, because we have not seen Yoda all but what 3 times in passing in other High Republic stories.
Right. And so Yoda before the Light of the Jedi was the Grand Master of the Jedi Council, the whatever you call him. But he was the leader of the council and is currently taking a sabbatical to teach Padawans. And so this is kind of what this focuses on. It gives those people who are looking for that Skywalker saga connection, it gives them there.
Mhm.
But it also keeps him more back focused, and chooses to focus more on the Padawans involved, mainly Zine, Lula, Farzala, and Court. You do get some other Padawans in here, but they're mainly just like oh yeah, we're on a big Padawan academic learning ship.
Yeah,
Um,
and we do get a small tease at Yoda's past. So I do hope that if we continue reading this, that we do end up learning about what that is. There's a character in here that actually tells Yoda, "Oh, well, the only reason why I trust you is because our paths crossed so many years ago."
mhm.
And he mentions the name of the planet that they met at, and I was like, okay, well, what does that mean? Like, how far along was that, or whatever? um But how did you feel about these two characters that we first met? Was it Crix or Crux or
Crix and
Zine?
Zine.
Yeah. How did you feel about their relationship? Like, I will tell you this, Crix, I don't like him. Like,
Yeah, like him
they
either.
there's moments where, like, of course, because of friendship and everything else, you're supposed to like feel sorry for him probably. But
Hmm.
by the end, it's pretty clear, like, nah, this kid's not doing great, and he's probably not gonna be coming to the light side anytime soon.
Right. But one thing I did kind of enjoy was the parallels in the storytelling that we got between them, because there were several points where the panels, they kind of mirrored between Crix and Zine what was going on between Zine on Starlight Beacon with the Jedi, and then Crix with Martian Row of all people. So this probably takes place very close, like in between the year between the Light of the Jedi and Rising Storm, because Martian Row is searching for parts that will lead him to the Leveler,
Yes.
which is the weapon he uses in the Rising Storm. So that he's looking for ways to kind of get to that point, and that's where Crix and Zine come into being. Basically, they're in sort of like a cult, a Star Wars cult that basically says all Jedi are bad, the Force is evil, don't use it. And Zine actually has Force powers. Her elders or her parents knew this and said, "Don't use it. You need to hide it." So she has been hiding, and that's how Crix and her end up splitting up, is a latent emergence from the Light of the Jedi. I can't remember that ship. Um, but the hyperspace emergence comes out and attacks their planet, which is Trimant 4. And so
Yes.
she basically does what all of the Jedi were trying to do in the Light of the Jedi, which was hold the emergence back from crashing on the planet. And she reveals herself in doing so to Crix. And so they are separated because he can't believe that she lied to him. What did you feel about that?
His whole thing about, "Oh, you lied to me. You lied to me." I It just felt very whiny. I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
this cannot be your best friend. If you're willing to like just like cut her off at the one sign of like what I don't know, just I guess just these force powers. I'm like,
Yeah.
that wasn't a real friendship if that's the case. And then you get these moments of when they are split up, they still have a communicator and they're still sending messages back and forth. And it seems to be like genuine. And then we find out, oh, well, Martian knew about this all along. Now we're going
Mm-hmm.
to set it up as a trap. And then it even felt like, no, like, it's no longer genuine. It's no longer, because there's a moment of like, oh, we can just leave and leave all of
Yep.
this behind, because the one thing that made it fairly obvious is, oh, we can all leave this all behind, and you just don't use the force ever. And I'm like, you're still taking the individual and putting them in a box and saying, hey, don't get out of this box, and then we'll be okay, leaving all of this. I did not like his character whatsoever. uh it just kind of irked me. I'm like, dude, you could be, you could probably have some really good redemptive type of actions, but because of how hardcore you were basically in this cult, like, it's clouding your mind. Even Yoda was like, hey, we can be good, let's just chill out, everything's
Mm-hmm.
fine. Here's your little bat friend. See, everything's good. We're all friends here. And then he's like, "There's a green Jedi," and it's like, "Oh crap! Okay, never mind. Peace out."
Um,
You know?
because and Yoda's right when he states it back to Zine, because she's like, "Where is he? Where is he?" And Yoda's like, "He has to want to be rescued," and
Yeah.
that's the thing. You have to want to pull yourself out of that stuff before you can be willing to accept help. So, um, but in terms of everything else, I really liked um like the I liked some of the splash pages we get. However,
Yes.
like the art on the Nihil scenes feels very dark, and sometimes it's difficult to like tell the legibility of kind of what's going on.
Yeah, I did notice that a whole lot. There were a lot of the blacks, the purples, the blues when it comes to anything with the Nihil. And then of course you get the very vibrant colors with the Jedi. Also, Katie was very confused when her book came in. She was like,
Yes.
"Why is this so small?" Guys, I'm not entirely sure. Um, it's been a very long time since I've gotten a an actual comic like this. Now, I'm used to manga being kind of this size and everything else. This is really, really small. So I put it up to, I believe, the first volume of the High Republic book and took a picture and sent it to Katie. And she was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
And the excuse that I had was because it's for all ages, maybe they have to be considerate of all ages, and they're like, "Hey, let's make this a little bit smaller so that way if kids really want to get into this, it is not too big for them to hold." um Not entirely sure if that is true. It's just my head canon for how small this book is.
And I mean that makes sense, but in doing this, it shrinks the art, and like you're gonna have Star Wars fans of all ages reading these comics up into their up until probably when they die, um, if they're fans that long. So I mean, for me, I'm like, I need my reading glasses to read this. Let me pull out the right the right glasses. Like, geez.
No, but I
Oh yeah, that's actually much better. I should have done that earlier.
yeah,
Anyways.
no, it so for me, I went ahead and I was kind of nervous because they were like, "Oh, there may have been a delay in your order." So I was like, "Oh crap, I'm not going to be able to read this in time." So the volume was unavailable to purchase at that time because technically Amazon ships your orders early to get them on day of release.
Yeah.
So when I got that news, I was like, "I'm not going to wait." I went ahead and I bought all 5 issues digitally. So I have all 5 issues digitally and this volume. And for some reason, I don't know why I'm doing it to myself, but I've gotten used to reading everything on my phone
Ooh.
instead of my iPad. And so when it came to the splash pages, I was like, "Oh, wait, hold on. Turn my phone, zoom in. Okay, now I can read the text that's on the splash page." So I do agree that because of the way they formatted this book, it does kind of hinder the way the art looks. I do enjoy the art though. I
Yeah.
like I don't recognize Zine's alien species. I think she looks cool. Um the pink skin, the like
Yeah.
pink and purple and blue tendrils coming from her head, I think looks really, really cool. Uh, I want her to be a Jedi, but I know she's not going to be.
Yeah, they're really sticking with the age limit here. And you kind of, I picture her kind of becoming somewhat of like a Ty Yorick, for instance, who's able to do stuff because everyone seems very willing to help her balance her powers and everything because she goes to kill Crix at the end of this, use, using the Force, and Lula's like, no, we don't do that. We don't do that here. Um, so they're definitely going to be helping her, I think. And so she may even get a lightsaber at some point. She will never be classified as the Jedi, I don't think.
I mean, as long as she can learn how to use a lightsaber, I think her character design with a lightsaber would look really, really cool.
Uh-huh.
But, uh, but yeah,
So this species has actually been seen in the Clone Wars. Um, do you remember the Fives episodes in the Lost Mission, season 6 of Clone Wars?
yes,
So the twin sisters, Tiplar and Tipley, one of them dies because a clone's chip malfunctions. And
Hmm.
Fives is like, we got to figure this out. And everyone's like, no, it's a malfunction. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so that, so that's the species of the twin sisters there.
Oh, okay.
And then it also says that another one named Sakis fought with the Alliance to restore the Republic in the Galactic Civil War. So that would be Rebellion era. And it looks like she's a Special Forces member. And it looks like maybe a comic.
Very interesting. Yeah,
So
I really like her design. As far as the Padawans, um, I kind of wish we got this kind of action for the Padawans in the Clone Wars. Um, because like just those cast of characters with like the small Wookiee and all of them, they were really fun whenever they had episodes, and I really enjoyed them. Um, it's very odd because we have the characters of, again, always forgetting names, people. It's just a part of who I am. I always forget names, but we have, of course, Emery and Vernestra, two
mhm.
very young Jedi, right? And very much to the code, like, hey, we're gonna listen, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. And then we have these Padawans here in this book, and they're like, we're gonna steal a ship and we're gonna go save some people. And
Yep.
it's like, okay. And in my mind, I'm just like, why couldn't they have just told the Master Jedi and then have them go, you know, the more experienced Jedi go save them? But in the end, they all were going to the exact same spot anyway. So
Yep.
I was just like, okay, I get it. But logic wasn't really going through. And I again, it is part of the whole thing with me in Jedi, and especially in the High Republic, the blur of the lines when it comes to showing emotion and uh like the whole friendship between our main Jedi. I can't remember her name.
Ava
Uh
Chris?
no. The in this book, the one that's on the
Lula.
cover. Lula, sorry. So Lula shows a lot of emotion in this book.
Hmm.
She is like hugging Zine and like all of these other things. And again, because of, like I said, when we were reviewing Light of the Jedi and everything else, I'm very fascinated on how the shift in storytelling when it comes to Star Wars is. And
Yep.
it's like, hey, we were very strict, and it was kind of like this religion based thing that was like very political. And I mean, yes, that's just the way it was written. And now, especially because this is a kid's book, they're going to write for that audience. They're going to write to, of course, have life lessons and things like that. But it's very interesting in how they do it with something that has already been kind of set in stone, like Jedi in
Well,
general.
and even Lula, I think it's in issue 4. She like goes to comfort Zine and is like, "Yeah, I noticed these things about you. Like your tendrils droop when you're sad."
Yes.
Um and like pulls it out like she definitely has a crush, I would
Hmm.
say. And of course, if you've read Race to Crash Tower, which is the middle grade book, um and really even like the Rising Storm, they kind of have an appearance. You get Lula Zine in a lot in Race to Crash Point Tower, and
See,
then
that's the one I didn't read. I own
mhm,
it, but I haven't read it yet. So I will probably read that before we get Wave 3.
it's very quick read. But it's written by the same author, so Daniel Jose Older wrote that.
Oh, okay, okay.
Um, so I liked. I think I liked the introduction we get here. I would like to see like a lot of these characters, a lot of the main ones in particular, like Vernestra Emery, Avar Chris, they've transferred over different forms of media, and I'd like to see that happen more with the comic book characters so we can feel more connected to them.
Chris makes a very, very brief appearance in the very beginning of this book, if I am not mistaken. When they
Yes, she's
show
in here a
all
couple
of the
points.
when they show all of the Master Jedi firsthand, talking to Lula, and then at the end when they are confronting Zine. Uh,
Yep.
but yeah, I really enjoyed this. I do like, for me personally, I have to keep the mindset of like, hey, this is an all ages book, because there are times when I read these books and there's something like painfully obvious that they kind of tiptoe around or like spoon feed you with. And it's like, oh, this kind of feels like you're talking down to me. But I'm like, oh, this is meant for people younger than me. Okay, that makes sense.
Yep. And I do find it interesting. So we get like to the last page, and like all the issues in this are split by like artwork of Martian Rowe, which is cool.
Yes.
Um and the last page we actually get helmetless Martian Rowe, which is cool to see. He's definitely got that Henry Cavill vibe, I feel like.
You think Henry Cavill would be Martian Rowe? I still want Matt Smith. I still want him. I want Matt.
Yeah, maybe.
I want
I don't
that
know if Matt
sleek
Smith could
jaw.
bulk up.
I think he. Oh, I say that, but
He's a twig.
he is one lanky kid. Um, I don't. I feel like if he bulked up, he would have like a weird bobblehead side effect with
Yeah.
the way his head is structured and his neck. I don't know if he can. Yeah, I don't know if he can. But
So, like, one of the things just on this page. So, Martian Rowe on his panels with Crix, he takes off his helmet and then he hands it to Crix and is like, "Now it's yours." And he's like, he says, "Indeed, it's one I used to wear many years ago. Now it belongs to you." When Crix says, "This helmet looks like yours," I'm like, "Kid, did you not just see him take it off?"
again, there's just this like very odd sense of, maybe it might have been an editing thing, because I thought, and he might actually have one. Yeah, so if you look carefully, again, because it's very dark in that
Very dark and
second,
it's very small. Yeah.
yeah, very dark and very small. If you look at
Yeah.
his other hand, he is carrying another helmet. Um, he somehow pulled this other one out of thin air. There wasn't a whole lot of progression in it. Um, but there is, as far as panels go, there's not a whole lot of progression. It's literally just 3 panels. It's supposed to be like, uh, they're showing similarities between Crix and Zine at the very last page. That's why it's so small, and they share a whole
Mhm.
page of this similarity. But
Yeah.
yeah, Martian is actually like holding it underneath his arm or his armpit, like he's carrying it like a
Yeah.
helmet.
And I can kind of see that, but it's just like it's very tiny. Why has it got to be so tiny? Um. So yeah, that's my perspectives on this. I think it's good. Um. So for those following the Star Wars comics and wanting to get issues and stuff, IDW will be publishing a volume 2 of the High Republic Adventures. Phase or phase 1 of the High Republic will end in the IDW Adventures in issue 13.
Okay.
Which, and it seems like the Marvel High Republic series will do something very similar. Kevin Scott has not confirmed anything, but Daniel Jose Older said issue 13 is the one like that closes up kind of the phase 1 journey. And so something to kind of keep in mind is with Dark Horse Comics coming in, they are predicted to take over the all age comic line. And because of IDW, IDW has had several publishing delays,
Oh yeah,
and
that was
not just
something we
before
didn't talk
COVID.
about. Yeah, it was
It's
the
heavily rumored, and I hate talking about people like losing contracts and stuff because it just sucks because so many artists and authors work on this stuff, and it's not to say that these won't maybe transfer, but like there's a reason that Daniel Jose Older's Trial of the Shadows comic is with Marvel, I think,
Yes.
instead of with IDW.
Yes.
So just something to keep in mind if you're looking to get IDW comics. I know I've made my list and are going, okay, I need to get my IDW comics for Star Wars. They like if IDW loses, they may stop publishing these for a little bit until somebody else picks it up. So just kind of keep that in mind.
Yep. But well, wasn't there news not only just for like the High Republic continuing at Dark Horse, but didn't Dark Horse just take the
So
IP of Star Wars from them?
so Dark Horse will be publishing some High Republic comics. But IDW was listed as Dark Horse will be publishing Star Wars comics in partnership with Marvel and IDW. So even though IDW's mentioned in it, everyone's thinking, I think their contract's up in February, and people are thinking Star Wars just isn't going to renew their contract.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. But I think that is everything. We didn't really hit a whole lot from there. We kind of just hit the high points. Honestly, guys, if any of you have anybody within the younger age brackets that is trying to get into Star Wars, I do think this could be a very fun way to get into it if they have watched the Star Wars movies. Of course, I think Yoda is a great character to show them familiarities with Star Wars in general. So go check that out. I believe they have up to issue 10 or 11 in these adventure books right now.
I think, well, no. So I think they're on issue 11 because 13 is supposed to publish in February.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So issue 11, so you can catch up, but just like Katie said, they're going to be doing a volume 2 to book in that. But I think that is it for the show. Thank you so much for listening on this Thanksgiving Day for us US listeners. You can always find me at FanboyClay on Twitter. The link tree in my bio to all of the shows that I host: DC Alliance, Batman News Weekly, Comic Book Legion Podcast, Weird Science, Marvel, DC, and Manga, Ranger Alliance, and of course, this show right here.
Yep, and you can follow me. I'm on Twitter as well. It's at Slice of Katie. I do have another show on the Geek Ultimate Alliance podcast network. It's a slice of film. We will be dropping 2 episodes this Sunday, so make sure you go check those out. That's Ghostbusters 2016 and Ghostbusters Afterlife. 2 very good episodes. Love talking with people about these movies. As always, if you want to come talk about a movie with me, reach out. You can DM me on the Slice of Film Twitter. It's at Slice of Film 1, or you can DM my personal Twitter. It's, like I said, at Slice of Katie. This show is on Twitter as well. It's at I was about to say Slice of Star Wars. No, it's not Slice of Star Wars. It's Star Wars Alliance without the A and the Wars. Next week, Clay will be getting the day off. Nathan is coming to talk about Lesser Evil, the Thrawn Ascendancy Volume 3 book. So very excited. I am sad. My physical copy is not going to come in time for me to do my second hard copy read. I know. I supported a small business. Winter River Books is Timothy Zahn's local bookstore.
Yeah.
And any of his books that he publishes, you can put in an order and request for it to be signed, and they will hold it and say, "Hey, Tim, we've got some books for you to sign."
That's totally worth it, though. That is totally worth it. So that is really cool.
It's a personal autograph. And so it's supposed to get here on Monday. I will have to buy the Kindle copy because I do need to actually physically read the book, and I don't want to buy another hard copy of Lesser Evil.
Can you highlight on your Kindle?
I can, but I can't get different colors. So, and it So I may like pull. I think I can do it on my iPad. So I may have to try that and see what I can do there because I have an Apple Pencil. So
But
um
because we were talking about it before, and we'll end the show right here. But Jedi, Dooku Jedi Lost, I think is the title of the book.
yep.
Um, my local Barnes and Noble did not have a hard copy, so I did not purchase it yet. But I do have it on my Audible. I'm waiting to get the physical copy. I ordered it on Barnes and Noble online store. It should be coming in within like the next week or two.
So
So
the,
that'll be
remember
fun.
those are script books. So
Yes.
they're not actually like
Yeah, no,
um
I have a script book called Krypton, which is
okay,
a Star Wars origin story, and it's a script book
a Star
also.
Wars origin story.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's a DC Superman origin story called Krypton, which is what the show was based off of. It was based off of that
Oh,
book.
okay.
Um, but yeah, it was also a script book. So I have a few of them in my little collection. So this will just be an extra one of those. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to listening to that. You got me really pumped about that. And plus, if that really does have the connections to the High Republic, it's a must read anyway. So
Yep. And for me, just as a like on my Star Wars canon shelf update, I have officially gotten all the hard copies of the Star Wars books that are currently out. Um, so my last one, The Legends of Luke Skywalker, came in today. So I was really excited about that one because I love that one. Um, but the next stop on my list for like spending like my podcast and writing money is getting my comic books. So
yes,
I will be going back. I'm gonna get up to date with the issues that are currently running for like the current Star Wars run, current Dr. Aphra, and current Darth Vader. I'm gonna get those trades because again, I'm sticking with trades. And I'll get those, and then I'll go back and fill in kind of where I'm missing. So
very very nice.
y'all, this has been a quick short show. Once again, enjoy your Thanksgiving holiday. Eat a lot of turkey, eat a lot of ham, eat a lot of mac and cheese, sweet potato casserole, whatever's your favorite. um Clay's not gonna be eating any of it, so
Nope.
y'all, I want to wish everyone a great day or night, whatever time of day you're listening or watching, and we will see y'all next time. May the force be with you.
See ya.